Streaming Wars, we're talking about all the different streaming services that you're currently enjoying, whether you're looking at them on your phone or you're watching on your big screen television. We're talking about those services that people love and some services that people hate. We're talking about things like Netflix and Hulu. Occasionally, we talk about things like these things that might be coming out, like the Peacock, whenever that shows up. So it's anything interesting that we think that you would also find interesting in the world of the streaming wars. So since I went first last time, why don't you go first this time, Eric? Tell me what's up first here for the streaming wars.
Okay, let me get the article here. Let's see. Sorry about that. Just a little technical glitch. I just need to bring up the article that I want to talk about. So, it's interesting. We have a pretty common theme on this show in our coverage about the streaming wars. Dave talks about it all the time, and it's kind of nice to see another outlet picking up on the same things that we're picking up on, because it gives me a certain sense of validation that we're on the right track. Dave and I know what we're talking about. We have a good sense of these industries and what's going on. So this is actually a venue that I'm not very familiar with. It's called warc.com, WARC.com. And the headline reads, Disney's Hamilton success indicates how the streaming wars are ultimately about content. And who have you heard that from before? You hear it from Dave all the time. You hear it from me all the time. Content is indeed king. The article says, figures from Disney Plus show how the content business does indeed continue. The content business does indeed continue to be about content as the postmortem continues on the ailing Quibi. And by the way, we talked about that last week, about the problems with Quibi. It says Lin-Manuel Miranda's Hamilton delivered, apparently. Over the last weekend, according to figures from the analytics company Aptopia, the same weekend the film version of the hit Broadway musical went live on Disney's streaming service, downloads of the app were 74% higher than average of the last 4 weekends of June 2020. So that's a sizable jump. So in other words, when Hamilton came out, Aptopia says that Disney's streaming service, Disney Plus, was downloaded 74% more than it was in the previous weeks in June. Said in the U.S. alone, 458,796 mobile devices downloaded the app. So basically, about 500,000 people downloaded Disney Plus because of Hamilton, and you can see a correlation there. What's more, this wasn't bringing in free trial users that had stopped in mid-June. So they're saying this is not about free trials. The premiere of Hamilton on Disney Plus was a bet from the newly digital industry titan to bring in paying customers. While it's unknown how many of them will continue to pay the $6.99 a month the service costs, the fact that many customers might have subscribed through other devices suggests the true magnitude of the Hamilton bump. So, and they also do talk about some of the problems with Quibi. We did talk about that last week, about the issues with Quibi right now. Quibi, of course, their entire strategy is a little different. They're really just competing for the mobile space, which is highly dominated by YouTube. But I just thought that this was really interesting, Dave, because you and I talk about this all the time, that content is king. And it seems like the gamble has paid off for Disney Plus with Hamilton.
Well, to kind of spoof Admiral Akbar from Return of the Jedi, we can't repel a content debut of that magnitude. So,
I love it.
No, yeah. I'm not surprised. The irony of this is that I needed to cut some corners because my hosting bill is a little bit more than I was expecting. So I actually just recently canceled Disney Plus. So in the midst of everyone else like signing up because of Hamilton, I'm going the opposite direction, going, I got bills to pay. So yeah, I haven't seen it. But I know a lot of people liked it because I saw a lot of people on Facebook amongst my friends talking about it. They were excited to see it. Some people saying, it lived up to the hype because they'd heard about it. I know a lot of people have been hearing about it, and a lot of people quite enjoyed it and found it interesting. I feel kind of bad, but until I get to a certain point, I'm having to start making some hard choices. And unfortunately, when I looked at Disney Plus, there's a lot of fun stuff on there, but there was just like certain things I wish, like for me, it's like the Marvel shows. It's like I know because of what's going on that we've got a delay happening here. But it seems like all those productions are so extremely delayed, including the animated What If. I mean, I would have thought that some of this content would have hit by now, but
Yeah.
who knows? I don't know. So I'm not surprised because, as you've said, Eric, we've said constantly, content is king. Content is king. A lot of these services, when they come out and they roll out, and you're like, well, they've got nothing. I'm not surprised they're struggling. I'm curious how well HBO Max is doing, just because they rolled out with one Anna Kendrick show.
Right.
That's pretty much what that and eventually there'll be the Snyder Cut. It's like, well, when the Snyder Cut's there, you have my money because I want to see it. But the Anna Kendrick show is as much. I mean, I think she's a talented actress, and I enjoyed the Pitch Perfect movies, but I'm good to wait. So content is very, very important in my opinion.
Right. And then we talked about last week how in terms of Quibi, it seems like their content really just is not getting on the radar. I haven't watched Hamilton. I have Disney Plus still, and I still haven't watched Hamilton. I was actually hoping to maybe watch it with one of my daughters or something like that, because especially my oldest daughter was really interested in it. And she listens to the songs and things on YouTube, but she hasn't seen the musical, up until now. So I know that there's that demographic that's really into this, especially with young people that are really, really into this stuff. May not be my cup of tea, although I like musicals. It wasn't something that was like, oh, I'm going to get, I got Disney Plus because of this. I got Disney Plus because of Mandalorian. But clearly, despite what my tastes are or whatever, this is something that is a cultural phenomenon. And it has been, I think, something that has paid off, right now in the short term for Disney Plus in terms of getting new viewers and new subscribers and things like that. Whereas I don't hear anything about Quibi. And this article talks about that too. The only thing I heard about, I've talked about it a couple times, is the Reno 911. They did a reboot of well, I think a continuation, actually. I think it's the same people, but they're doing more Reno 911. Other than that, I've heard about stuff they did, and I'm just like, whatever. And I never hear anybody talking about it. I've heard tons of people talk about Hamilton. I've heard tons of people talk about Disney Plus, but I barely ever hear anything about Quibi